The subject is a Gas Town. So Gas Town is this project from, it seems to be, I've looked a bit at his bio and he looks like an older, like, 50 something probably developer. And basically he's I think this project is completely non-functional and probably not made for real humans to use it, but it's quite interesting because it might give us a glimpse of what's going on, what will come in the future when it comes to agentic coding orchestration. So basically what this guy did, agentic coding orchestration tool that is very similar to Kubernetes, but specifically for managing lots and lots of AI agents to do some code stuff on very big, I guess, since there's a lot of agents, it needs to work on big projects, right? And I think this is very interesting. It's completely not mature. I think the code base, has literally 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks old, and this little article here summarizes very well. It's very fun to read. Also, the guy has a funny way of talking, and basically, he explains to you the new paradigm that he's trying to, he's pushing a frontier here. Like, he's really out there trying to push the frontier of what's possible with AI agents. And it's not pretty, it's not refined, it's not clean, it's literally the reverse of clean code. It's like vibe code slop on steroids. But it's very interesting because I guess in the near future, in 1 year or two, I'm pretty sure that the big AI labs will probably try to come up with some kinds of framework like that, more refined and that actually works, to actually manage, more than one AI agentic coding instance, but 10, 100, 1,000 instances at the same time, or articulating with each other in some way, like basically a meta, what we call an orchestration layer. Gastown, I think it's very interesting in this sense because, it's like a glimpse of the future. It's a very messy, chaotic, unholy glimpse at the future, but it's still a glimpse at the future because I'm sure that, I imagine that OpenAI, potentially Anthropic, Gemini, Google, they will see this, and I think they will ask themselves, they will tell themselves, we can do that better, especially since Google made Kubernetes, right? I'm sure they can do something similar for the agentic coding era, So of course, when it comes to this specific library, Gastown, do not use it. Do not try to use it. It doesn't fucking work. It wastes all your tokens in like 20 minutes, even on the Pro Max Super Ultra plan. So, it's not, I'm not going to use it, but I'm going to watch people use it. I'm going to watch people burn their tokens and, all their money on that. And I'm going to watch to see if people come up with maybe a better framework for agent orchestration. And because of course, since the agents are mimicking humans, there's lots of potentially conflicting that can happen in the implementation of a project, and there's a lot of interactions with CI/CD systems, Git, merges, pull requests, whatever, issue solving, bug checking, test passing, like writing the test, make the test pass, and that's why, and it's such a clusterfuck right now, even for the agentic coding agents of right now, like Cloud Code or whatever, that of course it's not ready, right? And that's why he says, he tells you, warning, danger, caution, get the fuck out, you will die, because that's the state of its library right now. But I think it's still very interesting, because it's a glimpse at the future. And also it's interesting because it's a completely different paradigm. when I read this article yesterday, I was like, oh damn, we're not like praying to the same gods now, you know, in this paradigm. Like, you know, in this paradigm, you are not praying to the clean code God anymore. You know, like, no, you are not praying to the TypeScript, you know, type checking God anymore. This is behind. This is like another continent, you know? And this is funny to envision, I guess, you know? Tech is evolving fast. Yeah. And so basically, I just want to read 2 paragraphs here that I think summarize his approach here, which, you know, is not an approach that is meant to solve or to, you know, be the cutting edge or whatever, but it's just meant to, like, weed out a new territory. You know, it really seems like this is what Gastown is. It's a project, an attempt at going full throttle into the vibe coding, like, paradigm to weed out, you know, some new territory, some new frontier in the, you know, agentic coding, AI coding continent, you know? And I think this is interesting. This is non-functional, and this is, you know, very sloppy right now, but it's still interesting. It might lay the ground for something better and more qualitative and more refined and more effective, you know, in a few months, in a few years, you know, by people who will actually do it more seriously, right? And maybe more step by step, because he basically did that quite quickly, right? It was like a few weeks, months of work, and all of his system itself, all of Gastown itself is vibe coded. You know, so it's like, yeah, it's like the amount of slop in there is pretty crazy. But I just want to read you this. Working effectively in Gastown involves committing to vibe coding. Work becomes fluid, an unaccountable substance that you sling around freely, like slopping shiny fish into wooden barrels at the docks. Most work gets done, some work gets lost. Fish fall out of the barrel, and some escape back to the sea or get stepped on. More fish will come. The focus is throughput, creation, and correction at the speed of thought. So he made, you know, the illustration is this, of course, AI generated, you know, image where the little polecats are the agents, right? And they're just, voila, you know, throwing around the bits of each little ball here is a commit or a code change, you know? So, voila, so sometimes it goes in the barrels, but sometimes it's spilled, voila, it goes everywhere. It's working, and the manager is saying it's working somehow, voila. Work in Gastown can be chaotic and sloppy, which is how it got its name. Some bugs get fixed 2 or 3 times, and someone has to pick the winner. Other fixes get lost. Designs go missing and need to be redone. It doesn't matter because you are churning forward relentlessly on huge piles of work, which Gastown is both generating and consuming. You might not be 100% efficient, but you are flying. Voilà. I think this is a very funny, interesting, you know, experiment. Yeah. Gastown is an experiment, and it's an interesting experiment. So basically in Gastown there are there are different like roles in the system. So, you know, there is the mayor, there is you here who communicates mainly with the mayor, and the mayor has like deacons, which are, you know, the watchers, the, you know, with the whip, and the polecats and the dogs are like the crew, like the actually AI agents that are going to, you know, make the code changes and stuff like that. And there's a refinery to you know, basically process all of the outputs from the agents, you know, into, I guess, you know, checking for correctness, making the running the tests, making sure the plans are followed, and voila, at the end you have the merge code that comes out. And voila, and maybe at the end you have something that kind of works, but it's not at all at this stage guaranteed. But you know, this is just funny. So voila, all the town, Riggs, the overseer, it's you, the mayor, polecats, refinery, the witness, the deacon, dogs, the crew, mail, voila. And you know, it's like, I think it's something interesting to watch, you know, like if you actually want to be at the avant-garde, you know, of like what's probably going to happen in the next year or so, or 2 years in the agentic coding, you know, environment. I think this might be, you know, a concept, this concept of, you know, big scale AI orchestration is actually like probably where it's going to go towards, you know, it's the direction that's going to go. But this is obviously a very, you know, but at the same time, it's an open source project, so maybe it's going to get better and it's going to become great, you know, at some point. I'm not sure when. Today, it's definitely not great to run. It basically burns all your token and it outputs mostly, you know, sloppy stuff that don't work. But you know, maybe and as he says himself, maybe in a few months when the training data of the current state-of-the-art models get trained on this article and on the code base or whatever, maybe, you know, maybe it will be like auto-realizing prophecy, right? It's like, since it will be written somewhere and the AI models will be trained on this notion that, you know, you have AI orchestration system, maybe they will become better at it, you know, because they will be more familiar with the concept and they will know like what, you know, they are supposed to do in this role or that role or whatever, you know. And yeah, even though, I mean, he noticed that at the current stage, like it seems that the current models are pretty good at adapting to their role already, you know. Yeah, I mean, look, there's so many abstractions and like sub concepts into his thing. I'm sure it can be simplified, right? Or at least it can be adapted, you know, to a simple. But the guy that made this has a very active mind. Like he really, it's really clear when you read his article that he, you know, he's a hyperactive person. And he, you know, he wants to shove everything in one big basket. But maybe it will, you know, I'm sure it can be purified and, you know, refined in a way and simplified, because it's, yeah, it is a real gas town as it is right now, hence the name, you know. So yeah, he's kind of right about this. It's funny. I think he wrote some updates recently too. Yeah, gas town emergency. So that's for the aimed at the people who are crazy enough to try gas town, which I'm not going to be part of, you know. But yeah, you know, it's on the forefront of something, and it might, you know, yeah, it might be the first sloppy example of something more general that we'll see in the next few months, years. I've already said that. Now I'm going to stop and switch to another topic.